Well, here now to discuss how these companies can navigate the political divide, The Verge editor-in-chief and host of the new podcast Decoder, Nilay Patel. Nilay, first, congrats on the podcast launch. But let's talk about this Section 230 issue and the testimony today. It seems like both sides enjoy beating up on Facebook and Twitter more than they are going to enjoy any particular solution to come out of this. Yeah,
I saw a good tweet today that said one side says the bus should go to New Jersey. The other side said the bus should go to New Mexico. There's bipartisan consensus that the bus should move. And that's about where we are. I will say that Jack and Mark have gotten really good at getting beat up on. So these hearings, we've seen a lot of bad hearings about tech regulation over the past few months. This was truly one of the worst. The senators seemed unprepared, and they're, whether or not they admit it, the Republicans know that there's going to be a Biden administration that might be the ones writing the rules of any proposed regulation. So there's been a marked shift in tone from the conservative side towards self-regulation and transparency. That seems like where we'll end up. But right now, it's just a lot of confused ideas about what the First Amendment can and cannot do in relation to the platforms.
I'm starting to think, Nilay, that this might be a rope-a-dope strategy from Zuckerberg and Dorsey, and I'm referring to the boxing strategy that Muhammad Ali made famous, where you just let yourself get hit and wait for your opponent to get tired. I mean, by this point, you would think that we'd be hearing something coherent out of the senators, perhaps something more coherent, or that it's headed somewhere, but maybe they just enjoy talking.
I think that's certainly true. I think in particular, Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook are very eager to have some sort of 230 reform, some sort of regulatory apparatus installed, because they're huge. They have the ability to light up compliance teams, light up content moderations teams, and really take that sort of regulated monopoly approach to dominance. And Zuckerberg even said it, we support reform. We think there should be regulation. Dorsey, Twitter's, I say this almost every time I'm on the air, Twitter's a much smaller company, much, much, much smaller. And today was the first time I think Dorsey said explicitly he supports some amount of reform, but I don't think he's eager to, face the compliance costs of a major regulatory scheme, the way that Facebook, quite honestly, seems eager to install.
Well, let's think about what might actually happen here, because when you've got a closely divided Senate, which it's going to be no matter who wins in Georgia, the presidential veto becomes really important. What kinds of changes are actually going to be made? It's not going to be open season for speech on social media, certainly with a Biden presidency, but I doubt the Republican senators are going to go for some sort of politeness regime.
I doubt it too. What's interesting right now, from what we've heard, President-elect Biden and Donald Trump have actually the same position on 230, which is to repeal it. That's all Biden has really said. We haven't gotten deeper into it. He has called for, as part of his transition, the creation of a task force on online harassment, which would definitely ladder into 230 concerns, but we haven't heard a lot of specifics. I think what you will definitely see is an increased push for the big platforms in particular to be far more transparent about their content moderation policies, what actions are taken, how often they're taken, if there is some sort of bias to those actions. People want to know that information. I think in a healthy market for these services, that's something consumers should know about the information they're getting from these platforms. But I think you're also going to see, in parallel, a lot of the antitrust and competitive market policy ideas come to the fore.
Okay.
What you really want is for there to be competition for Twitter, so that if you hate Twitter, you can go somewhere else.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.